strength of being on one side or the other is to do with the number of power picks available. But we'll see what they're able to pick up in this first game. It's going to be GameTV starting on the blue, SMG on their favored red side. L'Oreal and Airy, Malok banned first.
So L'Oreal still maintains that 100% pick ban ratio. Malok being banned out, it's not something that surprised me coming from GameTV. It is one of the most picked heroes that SMG have ran with, and tournament-wide is 97.3%. SMG actually ban out their own Chalgnar.
That's a very bold move. They didn't want to give that away, but that leaves on the table both Ryoma, Zil, and also the Lubu that SMG are so favorable towards.
Yeah, so the Ryoma being released, he's the secondary character that has that 100% win rate. So GameTV are going to pick that up. Incredibly strong duelist and AoE damage dealer when it comes to team fights. But we've seen a lot of Zil, and Zil's ramped up as the tournament's gone on. Yeah. It wasn't something that was prevalent in the early, but now as we got to the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, lots of Zil coming into play. And Lubu's just this staple off-lane character.
Yeah, just like the tornado he embodies, he is gaining speed as we move forwards. Now, GameTV have a decision to make. Do they take the Raz in here, or what else could they prioritize potentially? I mean, the Praetor is available, but I don't think we're going to see SMG actually go for a sort of a standard mid laner here. They have done this before, where potentially they could go just for Slims in the jungle or something similar, or something like that, and try and get the magic damage coming out from that Zil.
Depending on how much of a beefy team coming out on the side of GameTV, we've seen an interesting situation where Fennec has been running the mid lane. They've been pouring resources into him and getting farm. But we cannot underestimate the power of Hanzo's Joker. It's his most picked one. He has an 50% is played. Great success with it on the backline, being able to deal out this in tons of damage.
Xenial being locked in as well, a massive global presence now being put over into the hands of SMG. GameTV certainly have their work cut out for them, and it's a very nice round comp for SMG so far. GameTV can round it out nicely. They're a little bit wobbly at the moment for me, but they are hovering that Zuka and the Morad. Morad gets locked in,
so
and the Zuka.
We say that Morad, well, Zil is the Diet Coke of Morad, but Zil has been more effective in these later games than Morad has been able to do so. Another thing to note about the Zuka, fulfills a similar role as Ryoma, as Lubu in these fights, but we keep talking about the ramp-up time on Zuka. He will lose out early to the Lubu, however, I don't think Ryoma will. So I think that you might see, or GameTV might try and position it in a way that you get Zuka going up against a lane alternative to being away from the Lubu itself.
Alice locked in as last pick. Now, I wasn't expecting this because, of course, you've got the L'Oreal and the Chalgnar out of action. The only magic damage threat that they have is that Zil. And that's a lot of magic damage to come out, and with enough CC on the backlines as well, they could prove devastating with that magic damage shred that Alice is so renowned for. We will be getting underway as soon as they load on into the Arena of Valor. It is going to be GameTV versus SMG in the battle for the top.
Banning out the L'Oreal needed to be done in this game, I feel, but it plays into the hands of GameTV, because not only is Raz the second tier mid lane's often picked when L'Oreal's unavailable, it's also GameTV's highest pick banned hero. It's the one that's got the most attention on their team, so they definitely respect it. And tournament-wide, it's still got about 83% pick ban ratio on it.
SMG seem to be a team who adapt very, very quickly to new trends and new metas. The Airy ban is something we've seen it a couple of times. I'm not sure, do you have the stats on that?
Well, Airy itself has been, tournament-wide, is sitting around about 50%, 59.46%. So it's like 60% pick ban in general, but that's heavily skewed towards the Group A initially, and then in the quarters and semis. Group B didn't really touch it.
Well, that's where GameTV came from. They have banned that out, and that's something that we didn't really see before, and of course the Chalgnar ban, something new as well. Let's see how well that draft phase is going to pay off for both of these teams. Early invades coming out for both sides, GameTV and SMG both invading on the Sage buff side. Henry moving in to deal with Zil. Liang on that Zil, or SMG, and he's just going to continue to focus the Sage Golem. But is he going to pay for it with his life? I think so. He's going to dash over the wall, but there's the flicker coming out from Raz, and First Blood goes over to XB, trying to chase it onto Genji on the Alice, but that is going to be a secured escape. 1 kill and First Blood. Not sure the Sage buff was worth it, my friend.
Not to give up the First Blood for. There's no real hero on the side of GameTV that depends on having that Sage buff early. Yes, gives you gold, gives you a little bit of cooldown reduction and whatnot, but it's not worth invading to try and deny them that buff.
You might have plenty of punchlines, Joker, but I'll tell you who has a better punch is Raz. He's poking him out.
Basically all he does.
Pretty much. He's able to poke from a distance with that fireball you can throw out, obviously doing a lot of damage, forcing Hanzo out that lane. Something that's interesting to note is normally when you see marksmen being taken in that mid lane, they sometimes take punish. I'll get back to that point in a minute because there's a fight going on in the top lane. Genji poked down to half HP. They have to disengage. Zil still not very strong, doesn't have that Sage buff as well.
So as expected, you see the top side of the map being stacked by GameTV at the moment. It's all about the Spirit Sentinel rotation. Now they're not in position to try and contest SMG for this just yet, because Vyoma's on the way up there, but they're going to try it anyway.
Well, Murad has the ultimate available. Not sure who got that one, but the ult is going to pop. Chi very, very low. Pro on the front line. Henry wades in from the side. XB will find the kill. Finally, Liang is in a lot of danger as well. He is going to go down, and that is Zuka to close it out. 2 kills for nothing. GameTV take the advantage in that fight. Abyssal Dragon is up.
So it's excellent decision from, obviously you want to try and collapse on the Spirit Sentinel. Zuka secured that kill there by being able to get that stun off. Ormar has a stun of his own as well. Not much capability for Lubu to get out of that one. So Chi-Chi, I believe, was the one who will fall. Liang, ultimately, he only had one path to go, and that was to the top side. Couldn't rejoin his team, so he's just going to get picked off while he's solo.
Something as well that we saw coming out from both sides was that Ryoma and Zenial in that bot lane moved up to the mid lane, and they were sort of trading in there to be close to the fight.
Which is, to me, is surprising, because at this point, I believe Zenial was level 4, so he doesn't necessarily need to cover that much distance. I would have liked to have seen Zenial stay in the lane a little bit longer and get a little bit more pressure on the bot side and abuse the fact that he has that long-range distance travel.
Yeah, but let's look at who has more pressure in a lane left alone. I mean, Ryoma can clear the waves, he can push the turrets, he has a lot of damage, especially early on in the game, whereas maybe not so much on the side of Zenial.
But that's where you have to abuse that ultimate with Zenial, because if you stay in the lane alone, Ryoma will win it out. But if your team's forcing objectives on the other side of the map, Ryoma has to go and join him. He can't travel as fast as you can, and potentially, if you're willing to concede that tower, because he will take it if you leave it unattended, you have to win out that fight, which is something Zenial can do.
Abyssal Dragon is on the cards. The ultimate from... Oh, wow, okay. GTV are able to pick that one up with the ultimate. Not quite able to steal it for SMG, but they are going to try and steal away some kills. It's going to be B-Chan going down. Hanzo comes in from the mid lane, able to get the pick off on the kill.
One thing we did...
no, a dash over the wall. That is just going to be annihilated. 1-2 knockout.
One thing to note with that previous engagement, Zenial channeled his ultimate.
Yes.
Zuka, in the top lane, interrupted it. He has a knock-up on his 2. He was able to stop the channel and stop Zenial joining the fight. His heal does still come through, but obviously he's not able to reposition and provide that follow-up CC and that extra body to help with the fight.
Yeah, he does sort of get removed as a threat. Now, we're seeing why SMG was so scared of Raz here, but they're not scared to go in on him. Lubu will try and take him to justice, but he is going to be able to dash away over the wall. So mobile. Such an unlockdownable hero. I don't know. What's the right word for that?
Slippery.
Yeah, there we go. Slippery. We'll go with that. Ooh, fighting the top lane as they go for the dive. Serenia
Why is Serenia still there?
The turret. Alice is going to be able to pick up the kill, and Serenia survives.
So unless that was an absolutely masterclass in baiting by Serenia, he should not have been there.
No, he certainly shouldn't have done. He was a little bit overextended. Unfortunately, Genji was there to pick up the pieces. All that's going to mean is that he does have to go back to base. He does have the global ultimate, so it's not the end of the world, but obviously not the ideal situation. As it stands, GameTV do have the 1K advantage, but this far into the game, it's 5.5 minutes. That's not insurmountable at all, especially if they're able to pick up the Spirit Sentinel.
Always love a good health regen buff and a little bit of gold to kick back into as well. So So we're just going to head back down to the bottom side of the map, or at least put some pressure on mid lane first, because that Abyssal Dragon's going to be up, and you want to get the mid priority. You want to get as much priority in these waves as possible, so that if the battle goes south,
Look at this.
it's harder for your opponents to capitalize off the mistake.
The Death Brush comes out, and Ormar to get caught slightly, but they are just going to be able to get away because they do try and refocus onto that Raz. Unfortunately, he is just too slippery once more, but you slip away from the position on the Abyssal Dragon. They're going to try and wade in, trying to contest. Pro gets the stun down, and that's Hanzo going very low. Pro gets the kill. The Abyssal Dragon is low as well, and it is going to be going over to SMG, but the fight certainly isn't just yet. Liang is trying to kick out the back line, but Raz has already waded in, misses the poke, jumps onto PS Man, will go down. Pro as well in a lot of trouble. Liang will be able to try and find that last dash, and Genji finds another kill onto the Raz for the shutdown. Trying to close it out with a Murad. It's going to be Chan. Liang and the rest of the two players from SMG will just be able to get the kill, and Zil takes it home.
Alice needed to land that final stun because one more auto attack and Murad would have unlocked his ultimate again. He probably could have burst out Genji by doing that. Now, one thing to know, Hanzo, the first member of SMG to drop out of the fight, he was positioned in a very exposed place. Obviously, the team is focusing on trying to get the Abyssal Dragon. You want to keep your distance away from that so you're not taking the aggro. At the same time, he's put himself further into the river and closer into the hands of GameTV. Immediately it gets locked up, taken out with the ultimate from Ormar, just to make sure there's not that peripheral damage on the outskirts of the fight coming in.
Raz is 3-1 right now on the side of GameTV, but I just want to highlight the fact that he isn't top on gold. That's Murad on 3.8k, almost up at that 4k mark, competing with Liang in that jungle, so it seems that jungle's just providing so much more bounty at the moment.
That's exactly what the jungle does. It's more gold, it's more experience, it helps you power farm. It's why you see marksmen giving so many resources in the form of that jungle.
Liang jumping in, and he doesn't realize there's a pro waiting in the brush for him. He's going to get stunned up again, and the spears find their mark. That's Liang going down.
So the difference between... Hanzo.
Hanzo getting caught as well, and the poke from Raz is just too much. Murad as well, just dish out the rest of his health bars. Damage. GameTV. A quick flurry of kills to put themselves back in the driving seat.
It's all going a bit peaked on for SMG. If they cannot protect Hanzo in these fights, where is your damage coming from? Because Liang's going to have to dive onto the backline. He's going to have to be getting up in the face of Raz and shutting him down. Who is going to be dealing with damage if you lose Hanzo? Yes, Lubu can be a damage dealer indeed, but not to the same degree as a marksman can in the late game, especially Joker with his grenade, with the punchlines. You've got to be protecting Joker, whether it means Alice sits on top of him, stuns any threat, and shields him to get him back and allow him to kite back, or whether it's Zenial who's just going to be there to provide that hard CC and a little bit of respite for him to move around the map a little bit more. Hanzo just needs to be a little bit more conscious about how he's positioning, because if he drops early in the fight, it should be a lost fight for SMG.
You need to have that protective line. Sereni obviously looking to try and protect it. GameTV trying to protect their position on the Abyssal Dragon. SMG are over the wall. They've got most of their players there. Hanzo ready and waiting. Zenial obviously in the top lane can arrive at any time, but it's not going to be enough. Chan will secure the Abyssal Dragon for GameTV.
I think at that point, SMG already know they had lost the Abyssal Dragon fight, especially with the channel time from Serenia. It would be difficult for him to get to the fight in a meaningful way. You just turn up afterwards.
As well as Henry being able to stun him out of the channel as well. Means he wouldn't be able to turn up necessarily, but Liang, he's got a lot of damage. Ryoma is going to feel that, and he's going to go down. A lot of damage returned onto it. GameTV with a bold early Dark Slayer at 9 minutes.
SMG are none the wiser.
SMG have no idea. They're going to be able to get the Dark Slayer for free. What are they going to be able to do with it? Where are they going to put their pressure?
If I was them, I would be looking in the bot lane. I'd go answer the Zil push right away, and I'd start rotating around to the bot lane. Allow Zuko on the top side of the map to get that split push on because he's relatively safe. What Morad should do here is push out the wave a little bit more and go and join them in the bottom lane. You've got a half health HP tower, and it also frees you up to go around the top side of the map. And it's all about buying time for the Zuka, because we've almost bypassed or fast-tracked Zuka's early game, so he's become a bit of a monster sooner than he should have done. And there's not many people who'd be able to duel him, and like you've correctly identified, John, Zuka being able to interrupt Zenial's ultimate means he is a perfect person to go ahead and match him up. So you can see a lot of focus on the bot side of the map at the moment. Ormar lingering around. He's looking for a catch on the rotate with it to collapse on afterwards. But it's the mid and bot side to free up Zuka in the top.
They haven't done anything quite yet with this Dark Slayer buff. They've just been pushing out their waves across the board. You can see that advancing small blue dots on the mini-map. Going to try and jump onto Hanzo yet again. That's the strength of Murad. He can just jump on the backline, try and assassinate his quick, even if he fails. It can go, he can just jump back out, but PS Man will get found out in the jungle. They're going to dive on the bot lane as well as Liang. Going to find 3 players staring him down, and under the turret will not be enough security for you. The turret very, very low as well. When they choose to go for that, they're going to be able to take it almost immediately.
And this is the slight problem with GameTV's composition. They have to all or nothing these towers. They don't have siege, they don't have range, so they either have to commit to the fight and try and win it, or tower dive, which can pose to be very risky as long as SMG can kite back. This is why marksman is often picked up. Now, no marksman compositions do work. You just have to take your advantages elsewhere and be a little bit more patient when it comes to these towers. We
see what Chan is trying to do with that Murad, trying to jump over the wall. You know, he opens up his ultimate, jumps over the wall with the double dash, ults on towards Hanzo, and then just pops back to the clone. It's so strong because he goes untargetable when he's ulting. And it's just going to keep him in check. But it's just so safe for SMG to be able to keep this range, keep clearing these towers. And Zenial really comes into his own when you're playing super defensive, and you need him to jump from the top to the bottom of the map. Ooh, Liang trying to burst out XB, but it's not going to be quite enough as he is going to go down. Murad finds it. Hanzo in the back line. He isn't going to be touched yet, but it's going to be PS Man to go down first for GameTV. Got Zenial in the front, but in the back line, he's getting dealt with. Chan takes a poke from the punchline, and Lubu now into the fight. Hanzo hasn't been touched yet. If the Zuka goes down, if there's enough damage on, Pro could find the stun, but he isn't able to just yet. There he goes, drops the present on the Zuka. He will fall. Now it's Pro and Murad left alive, but Hanzo not quite able to find quite enough damage. Hanzo can't die here. If he does, they could look to push onto the core itself and get a lot of damage down there. Now, SMG felt comfortable taking that fight because they saw the Darkslayer was gone. So that obvious 30% advantage in the HP region that's coming out from that buff wasn't present on the side of GameTV. That being said, it's so spread out, and a lot of these cooldowns are being held onto, specifically Henry's stun at the end to secure the kill onto Lubu, but also Murad's spell cycle is so short, he can just keep outputting that ult you see time after time, and it forced out Genji. You saw him just chunk him entirely on this Alice. Need to think about how they're going for these fights. They need to have the advantage when they win the fights as well, because they did essentially win that fight. They could have pushed Joker off position, but they just didn't have the waves with them. They didn't have the priority, so now they're going to look to find a slightly better fight. Liang jumping into the backline, trying to find Chan. We'll have to jump out though, as Serenia will jump on top of him to secure that heal, to try and secure a little bit more damage, but XB is the one to find it. Henry trying to jump in as well. Hanzo relatively low as they do go 2 for 1 so far in the trade. Serenia will get caught out, and that's Hanzo finding yet another kill, but that's what a lovely Murad ult to find yet one more. Only Hanzo left standing yet again. 3 players to contend with. Yeah, dashes over the wall, gets that final auto attack needed to unlock his ultimate, pops the ult, destroys Genji. Can't find Hanzo, so only one of the Shimada brothers goes down in that engagement, but it does open up the playing field for GameTV to crack open this base. If XB can land a poke onto Hanzo and Chan can jump on, then Hanzo's in a lot of trouble, but that's a lovely pick off, but he goes down. The respawns are coming through though as the high ground turret falls. XB could find himself in danger as he does take a shot from the core. Liang jumps on, will find 1 kill, tries to turn it onto PS Men, but he's just too far away, slightly out of range. Yeah, forced out the flicker by Ryoma there to get him to safety. He has a bit of a roll, but it can't go that far, so he has to try and get away from Zil, who does have a similar cooldown mobility spell in his disposal, so it should be quite an equal chase. The flicker just guarantees his safety. Vessel Dragon will be started out by Genji. I don't think you can solo that one out, Alice, but Liang waiting in the wings means that you probably, well, you could almost certainly 2-man at Lubu is there as well. So you know, also the Darkslayer coming up in just under a minute. And so they secure themselves another Vessel Dragon, or about to. No, they've left it? That's odd. Fair enough. They don't want to have a misposition on the dock. It's not just that, they're all level 15 as well, so the XP doesn't provide them any benefit. Getting collapsed on by SMG. They find the kill super quickly. The res will come through. They didn't quite land the stun. The timing slightly off, but it shouldn't matter too much as he will just go down under the turret. They're trying to respond with a push into mid lane. They need to get the base fast because this could be the game-winning push. Why are they still top? They're not able to find it. Oh, they were calling. There we go. Okay. Whew. I thought they weren't. I thought there was a recall animation. I couldn't see it. I was like, what? Me too. Yeah. It was a little bit of nerve-wracking, a little bit of a nerve-wracking moment. But you can see this is smart because Serenia, of course, with that ultimate, could go back to base at any given time. He's just being a scout. But he's scouting it out. They know exactly what's going on. They will spot this one out. Here should come the collapse. The Darkslayer will be taken down to half HP. GameTV will be able to do that. But Here comes Hanzo on the front line. Zenial on the side. PS Man gets
Completely negates Murad's ult.
B though with the damage on towards the Alice. She will go down early, and GameTV are starting to fall. Hanzo's still alive. Will be B-Chan trying to get away from this one. He's not going to be able to do quite enough. Pro has to dash away under the turret, but he's the last man left standing. Sorry, Henry is there as well, because of course he was in that fight. He got taken down to the top lane earlier. So 2 men standing for GameTV. SMG keep 4 on the arena.
Whereas in previous fights, we see Genji and Hanzo sticking together as you'd expect the Joker and Alice to do, just to provide them a little bit of support. This time, the second Murad, well,
this is smart from Zenial. He's diving the turret to prevent them from going back to base. He's not allowing them to defend their turrets. They're going to push straight on through, and the wave is with them. They're going to be able to breach the line if they choose to, but no, they're going to back off because the respawn timers are there.
Good spot. But what I was saying about the previous fights was that Murad has had the option of being able to use his ult to hit both Joker and Alice, 2 of the squishier targets, the ones he needs to be removing from the fight. Immediately when Murad went in on that one, you saw Joker flicker away onto the backline, get out of the danger of the ultimate, and begin to start cutting back into the fight. Darkslayer back on the menu for these teams. Zill nowhere near to contest this.
They're not rotating in fast enough. Pro is just going to be zoning out the entirety of the SMG roster on the backline. The Darkslayer again going over to GameTV. But look at the gold difference. It's so close even at this late stage of the game. SMG definitely not out of it just yet.
But they've had the Darkslayer buff before and they weren't able to get much done with it. But now that the base is opened, they're able to pressure their advantage a little bit more and play around the area where there's not a tower.
Oh, Chi-Chi taken so low by the Murad, but he does have the resurrection.
Wait, Joker's on the back line!
He jumped in, Joker is in the back line, untouched. Chan used the ultimate too early. He's going to go down. Henry is going to revive in just a moment. We'll try and stun up the back line. Hanzo taken very low, is trying to get the kill, but it's not going to be enough. Hanzo reigns through, and it's going to be 2 players left for GameTV. Murad is going to go down with an early ult onto Chi-Chi. It's not going to bring the results they were hoping for.
Not only that, you had to go super aggressive for the ult onto Chi-Chi, and he has the resurrection available. So what do you really get? You're so close to the base, he just walks back to the respawn platform and completely negates the risk. It was not worth the risk to do that. And Hanzo, with the absolute bullseye from the back line on that punch line, hits it down, sends him to the grave, and then you've lost one of your main damage threats. At that point, the Darkslayer buff is negated by the fact it's a 4v5.
XP trying to just poke on towards the might buff, but he will just get zoned out. Of course, you've got far too many SMG members waiting in the wings. GameTV are all respawn now. Henry just about to do so. So it will be the next fight, probably, that decides this first game in this best-of-7 series.
Well, both the mid lanes will be the option for them to go and attack. You can see they've got a little bit of chip damage onto that blue side, high ground tower. So, and then, of course, SMG don't have one of their own. John, you're right, the next fight should decide it, assuming that it's one with a clear margin. It's very close, there's a couple of members lying around still. It doesn't guarantee the win.
And let's look at the waves as well. They're meeting in the middle of the lanes, both teams keeping that pressure up, which means they will struggle to go for it, but with the death timers as they are, could be a little bit of a bonus. I think we're going to see the clash start to happen. PS Man will start onto Genji. The Hissy Fit gets dropped. B-Chan trying to jump on in, and Genji is dropped super low, but Liang is going to have his vengeance. Henry super low as well. Genji hasn't fallen yet, and Hanzo starts away into the fight as well. GameTV start to fall, and this is Pro to follow. Just the 2 of them remaining, and 1 player, Genji, has fallen so far for SMG. This is an exact repeat of the last fight, but PS Man, he's trying to go for the backdoor, running away from these 2 SMG players. He's not going to be able to make it. Unfortunately, Lubu just gets the knock-up. Serenia, those shields just a little bit too strong. The lifesteal not quite enough for PS Man, and he does go down as well, but the waves just aren't there.
So your reaction is exactly what he wanted. He wanted GameTV wanted SMG to think. There's no way Bioma would have been able to get that if he, as long as there were people to follow and stop him. He did it to stall out the advance from SMG now that they had won the team fight. Wave control, very important. It enables them to be able to push this top lane instead of de-pushing the wave first.
Something that's also helping them out is the fact that Henry is, not helping them, but Henry's going down early in these fights, which means he respawns into help, but it's not going to be quite enough. If Hanzo goes down here, they might be able to secure something, but no, it is going to be SMG with the final fight, able to take game number 1 in this best-of-7 series for the big money, $100,000 bonus to make it $200,000 on your victory check.
Okay then, well, SMG taking away the first game. It was nice to see that Hanzo fixed his early game mistakes, his positioning errors on Joker. I think after that first time we called it out, extremely aware of it, holding on to his flicker to get out of those Murad ultimates, but also just positioning better as well. I think greed cost GameTV a little bit there. You saw Murad jumping in for that greedy attack on Lubu, knowing full well he'd just resurrect. Yes, it's important to take that away so it's not available in the next fight. So I can understand the importance of him wanting to do it. But when you're having to dive over the base wall by yourself to get away with it, knowing full well you have chase potential on the side of SMG. You know, you have Lubu who can jump over the wall, lock you up. You have Alice with the stun, Zenial with the knock-up. There's so much lockdown, and it's dangerous for you to take those solo plays as Murad without the distraction from the rest of your team. So I feel like that allowed SMG, was part of the reason SMG were able to come back into this, use that man advantage, and take out the Dark Slayer buff, when really,